Even Wall Street initially slipped after this tweet from the president on Thursday, but by the end of the day the tone had changed, if only slightly.
So we're asking for a lot of trouble, and no, do I want to see a date change? No, but I don't want to see a crooked election. This election will be the most rigged election in history if that happens.
The election date is set statutorily in the US Constitution as the first Monday in November and can only be changed through an act of Congress, where Republicans, even if they were to support the president's call, do not have the majority. Additionally, the idea of increasing mail-in voting in several states comes due to public health concerns and the need to avoid large crowds gathering at voting precincts this November. 5 states, Colorado, Utah, Oregon, Washington and Hawaii, already only allow voting by mail.
Mail-in ballots will lead to the greatest fraud. You know, we talk about Russia, Russia, Russia for 2.5 years, and then they found nothing, and there was nothing. But they talk Russia, Russia, Russia. They talk China. They talk all of these countries. They say they get involved in our elections. This is easy. You can forge ballots. This is much easier for foreign countries.
The issue also came up at the funeral service of late Congressman and civil rights leader John Lewis, who was a fierce advocate for expanding voting rights in the United States.
We may no longer have to guess the number of jelly beans in a jar in order to cast a ballot. But even as we sit here, there are those in power who are doing their darndest to discourage people from voting by closing polling locations and targeting minorities and students with restrictive ID laws and attacking our voting rights with surgical precision, even undermining the Postal Service in the run-up to an election that's going to be dependent on mail-in ballots so people don't get sick.
Pushback also came from the president's own party, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and the leader of the Republican caucus in the House of Representatives.
I understand the president's concern about mail-in voting, which is different than absentee voting. But never in the history of the federal elections have we ever not held an election, and we should go forward with our election. But we should have absentee voting, but this mass just mailing out ballots without having any checks and balances, without people requesting, really brings concern in there. But no way should we ever not hold our election on the day that we have it.
Election experts have downplayed the president's fraud concerns, including the commissioner of the Federal Election Commission, Ellen Weintraub, who as far back as March said voting by mail offered the best path during a public health emergency. Sherman Bryceby's SABC News, New York.